God in all his wisdom, he created all these animals like humans and American bison, but then he said, for the fly, I'm going to make them puke on their own hands and puke on their own food in order to eat it.
And their population right now is estimated around 4,000 bears. That's it. These fussy lady moose, not only do they want big antlers, but they got to get a good straight look at you, and if they're not symmetrical, then fuck you, I'm going on to the next big boy. If the nest tends to be warmer, they'll produce a lot of male baby alligators. They control the size of their blood vessels. They slow their heart rate.
Now, how come humans can't have cool shit like that? You know, male animals of all kinds, including maybe the sea lion, will travel millions of miles to go fuck some unsuspecting female.
And the whole body's jiggling. It's like, arr.
You gotta wonder what the mating looks like. I'm too scared to look it up.
I'm not coming on the show anymore.
Yes! We did it! Woo! I'm just so very tired. Dr. Buster, I'm tired.
Okay.
This is the intro, by the way.
I think this is one of my favorites. This is really good. This is already top 5 of my favorite 10-ish episodes.
On these intros, I try to like bring some energy and build up my guest sidekick host and get the listener excited about listening today. But when we hit record and I just started to try to amp myself up and psych myself up and I just saw you over there, I literally could not find the energy or the will to even live, much less give an exciting intro.
Because you don't need it. Your guest host today brings that energy himself, so it's all right if Nick takes a back seat like he always does and slacks off. So hey, I'm in the driver's seat, you're in the back, let's do it. I got you strapped in the car seat, ready to go.
All right, go ahead then. I'm just going to sit here for the ride. Apparently you got it covered.
I refuse.
You just said you're in the driver's seat and Nick can sit in the back seat. Let's go. I got you covered. And then I say, okay, go ahead. And you say, no, I refuse.
Listen, I just like playing hard to get.
I don't know what to do with you.
So today's list is going to be about big things.
Oh, baby.
Big hairy, big jiggly, big leathery.
Butts?
They are, I don't know if all of these things have butts, actually. Most of them do. I just wouldn't know where to find the butt.
You said leathery, hairy, and...
jiggly. You'll see why.
And if there's a sumbitch on this earth that knows about jiggly, it's Dr. Buster, PhJ, Doctor of Jiggly Asses.
Do you ever go outside and try to reconnect with your roots?
Never been outside. No. I wish to go outside someday, but to date, I've been too scared.
Sure.
I'm afraid that...
What are you scared of?
The second I walk outside, a bacteria will infect my body, or a tornado will come and take me away. I'll see a butt that's too jiggly. All kinds of things. I'm just scared to go outside. So someday I hope to go outside someday, but to date I have not yet been outside.
I don't really know how to get you to guess what the list is about, and since the listeners already know what it's about because they saw the title, I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to you.
That's a great idea. I think that's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like to make you squirm a bit.
You don't want to drag this out for the next half hour and let the listeners just sit here waiting for you to reveal the thing they already know?
Yeah, but you don't know. So today you're going to be guessing the 10 largest land animals native to North America, ranked by weight.
Largest land animals.
Yep. Ranked
native
by
to
weight.
North America by weight.
Now, the exact weight that I'm going to throw out is the top end of a reasonable average weight for each animal. So we're not talking about the shrimpy wimpies. We're talking about, like, of the whole herd or the group, how big can they reasonably be?
Okay. Not necessarily the biggest ever recorded.
Exactly. Like, the biggest average.
And are these animals all still with us?
Yes, they're all currently out there fucking doing whatever. You'll see exactly what they're up to
today. Did you say you didn't know? You didn't know if some of these animals had butts?
You'll see why.
Doesn't every animal have a butt?
Yeah, but where would you point to it? You'll see why. Think about it. Some animals have some tails, right? Now, some animals have tails in a way that kind of make it confusing where you would point to the actual ass cheek. It's hard to know where the butt is.
Most animals don't have an ass cheek. That's a pretty human thing.
Sure. So then, does a seahorse have a butt, Nick? Oh, okay.
Is a seahorse a fucking land animal, Buster?
Is it? Okay. You
said...
I'm trying to give an example here.
All right, just save it. We'll get to it. So tell me about the list. Where'd you get it from?
Your ass.
Okay.
I found this on a Reddit, an animal subreddit, but the actual graphic was full of misinformation, unfortunately. So it took an incredible and annoying amount of time to recalibrate the list by looking up things on National Geographic and Wikipedia. So Reddit, Wikipedia, and National Geographic are my sources for today. And I just want to say up top, I wanted to keep the list lighthearted and fun. I want to talk about the animals, but just know that on all 10 of these animals we're going to talk about today, they have been extremely negatively impacted by humans, and they continue to be negatively impacted by humans and climate change. So that's a given throughout the whole episode, but just keep that in mind. I won't be touching on any of that, but it's super sad with any time you talk about the natural world, and I decided to leave it out today.
Yeah, maybe it's sad if you're a fucking hippie.
And we'll talk about some fun facts.
We only share unfun facts here. So I refuse to talk about any animal unless we hone in and hyper-focus on the fact that they're fucking going extinct and being endangered. That's the only fun facts I'll talk about today. But okay. Where do you want to start?
And some of the big baddies that come to your mind quickly may not be on the list, which is surprising to me. Some of the heavy hitters that were left off the list. And also keep in mind, no horse, no bull, no cow. They're not native to North America.
Cow is not native to North America? Where is it native to?
I think Eastern Europe. They brought them over. Domesticated.
You don't fucking know what you're talking about.
Horses from Asia, I think.
Fuck, where do we start? What is it? Well, now you're throwing me off, because what the fuck is even native to North America? Fucking duck? That's not native to North America,
I think a duck is probably from America, but duck's not on the list. Didn't crack the top 10. Let me give you some frame of reference. Number 10, the lightest feather on today's list, is 1,000 pounds.
What?
Yeah. This list is pretty cool.
Now what's number 1 then? What's the weight of number 1?
I was gonna say, you really gonna ask me to just tell you what number 1 is? Number 1 comes in at a high average of 5,000 pounds.
That's almost as much as one of Dr. Buster's ass cheeks.
Sure.
Almost. My first guess is, okay, so it has to be at least 1,000 pounds, and it's not a cow, a horse, or a bull. What about a buffalo?
What type of buffalo? There's only one type of buffalo that's native to North America.
Bison?
The American bison. What number do you think it comes in at?
All right, American buffalo, number 3. I knew it.
If you didn't know, folks, that list guessing is a soft skill you can develop, Nick has proven it time and time here again on this podcast. The American bison is number 3, coming in at 2,400 pounds. Now, much like African elephants, female bison live in maternal herds, which include other females and their offspring. Male offspring leave this maternal herd around 3 years old, and they travel in bachelor herds, getting into all types of trouble and shit. During fall and winter, bison tend to gather more in wooded areas. During this time, bison partake in something called a horning behavior. No, that's not what you do on prom night. They rub their horns against trees.
I know all about rubbing my horns on trees. It's fun. Go ahead.
Even utility poles, if they're around humans. Aromatic trees like cedars and pines seem to be preferred. Horning is associated with insect defense. They get the sap and the smell on them, and for some reason the bugs are like, "Ooh, you smell like pine. I don't want to bite you anymore." And apparently it works.
So these bugs that, by the way, eat shit, they're now too good to land on these bison that are rubbed on trees.
Well, maybe it smells too good for them.
What we think smells good smells bad to them, and vice versa. You know, it's interesting that God, in all his wisdom, he created all these animals like humans and American bison, but then he said, for the fly, I'm going to make them puke on their own hands and puke on their own food in order to eat it. Like, why? Why are we doing that? One time I went to a safari, like an animal safari, and there was a bison there, and it was laying down, and its eyeball was covered in flies. Like, every time it blinked, the flies would fly off, and then when its eye reopened, the flies would land back on its eye. And it was fucking sad.
Yeah, we took a trip to Botswana and did a huge safari a few years ago, and the swarms of bugs and how much they're on every animal it can't be understated. So many people know bison are herbivores. They graze on grasses, and their daily schedule involves 2 hours of grazing, resting, and cud chewing, and then they move on to a new location.
They just eat the whole day, right? You're just saying every 2 hours they move to a new spot?
They eat for a bit, they chew on the cud, they rest, and they're like, hey, keep going. And they go to the next grass patch and eat that. Oh. All right, well, why don't you quit chewing your cud over there and guess another large, beastly animal.
So if the bison is number 3 at 2,400 pounds, that means number 1 is almost twice as, or it is more than twice as heavy, right?
It is,
interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to say that the grizzly bear is a grizzly bigger than a grizzly's bigger. I think a grizzly's the biggest in America. I'm going to say grizzly is number 2.
Okay, folks, he starts batting pretty high. He nails it. The second one, a complete whiff. Grizzly
4.
bear, not even on the list.
Maybe they're not North American native.
They are.
I thought they were.
They are, but grizzly bears only top out at a high average of 900 pounds. Now, that's a shock to me because I thought surely grizzly bears on the top 10. But that's not the case. There is one type of bear. Grizzlies, they're very closely related, but it is technically a different type of bear.
I thought the grizzly was the biggest. Is it? It's not a black bear. Brown bear? Is that a thing?
Yes, it's a specific type of brown bear. They're native to one specific island in Alaska, and because of their island environment, they experience giganticism. They're so big because of their island environment, which I learned.
I mean, it's not a polar bear. I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's the Kodiak Bear. The Kodiak brown bear.
Okay, that's number 7?
Are you fucking serious?
Is that really it?
Yes. Kodiak Bear, number 7, you son of a bitch. 1,200 pounds. 1,200 pounds. The grizzly, 900. So we're talking a whole nother third bigger than a grizzly.
And the Kodiak is exactly half the bison.
It inhabits the islands of the Kodiak Archipelago in southwest Alaska, right on the coast. That population occurs only on those 3 or 4 islands. And their population right now is estimated around 4,000 bears. That's it. 4,000 in the world that fit this exact Kodiak brown bear subspecies.
Do they migrate away from that area in Alaska, or is that like the only place to find them?
They're trapped on these islands. They originally, got to them by frozen sea, but for gosh, I would assume since the last ice age, they've been stuck there. And because of their trapped location, specific diet, they've gotten massive. My other note on the Kodiak bear is how diverse their diet is, and I think this is true for all bears. They are omnivores, they're scavengers, they'll eat just about anything. So the first foods that bears will eat in the spring after they come out of hibernation is emerging vegetation, grasses, and animals that may have died during the winter. So you've been dead 3 months, who gives a shit? I'm eating you ass to limb. Then the bears quickly put on the weight, and as summer progresses, more vegetation comes online, and they kind of hop, skip, and jump through vegetables until salmon season, which is May through September. Then they feast on all that fish, 5 different species of Pacific salmon that spawn there in the local streams. They prioritize the brain and the eggs of salmon for their high nutritional value. As climate changes and the salmon spawning slows down, they switch to berries, especially their favorite elderberries, as they ripen, and that overlaps. And they also feed on seaweed and some invertebrates on the beaches throughout the year. So there's just nothing these bears won't fucking touch.
And when you're stuck on this fucking island out in the middle of Alaskan bullshit nowhere, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
You have no choice. And I think part of the reason why they can eat such a variety of a diet is they don't have a lot of competition out there.
Yeah, I assume they're the apex predator.
And I wonder how many herbivores even share the island with them. Because they don't have any, I don't think they have any deer to chase or kill because it's just them and all the salmon that come in through the lakes and streams.
And it's amazing that an animal of this size can live on, it's kind of like a whale, right? A whale, like a blue whale will eat, what is that shit called? Like plankton and shit.
Krill,
yeah. And they're like the largest animal to ever exist besides your mom. So
good one.
That's,
had to get it in.
I had to bring it back.
You stole it right from me.
It's interesting, though. It is interesting.
Okay, you've got bison at 3, Kodiak bear at 7. The minimum, they need to weigh 1,000 big old lbs.
Well, a moose, I believe, is native to Canada. So which is in North America, last I checked.
Allegedly.
So I'm going to say the moose is on here. And is a moose bigger than a bison? I'm going to say, well, the antlers have got to be included in the weight.
I don't know, because they grow and shed their antlers every year, so I actually don't know that.
Let's go moose at number 5.
I fucking hate you.
Is it really 5?
This is ridiculous. It is. I'm not coming on the show anymore. This is...
Yes! We did it! Woo! I can hear the world just like jumping and cheering. I'm gonna put some music on right here. It's the scene in The Office where Michael Scott and Aaron are breaking open the wine bottle or the champagne bottle. That's us right now.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
We did it.
Let's
He's
celebrate.
gone. We just got to power through the rest of this episode. Moose, number 5. How big?
Talking about the moose. 1,500 pounds.
Pussy weight.
I've only seen a moose once in real life, and let me tell you, folks, god damn, did I keep my distance. No way. No way am I getting on the wrong side of a moose.
Are they aggressive animals? Do you know?
Yeah, I have some notes about that. So bull moose have antlers like other members of the deer. The size and the growth rate of moose antlers is determined by their diet and their age. Size and symmetry and the number of antler points signal bull moose health, and cows may select mates depending on antler symmetry. These fussy lady moose, not only do they want big antlers, but they got to get a good straight look at you. And if they're not symmetrical, then fuck you. I'm going on to the next big boy.
It's like, I remember there were times where I was with a woman and I pulled down my pants. And she allegedly, I pulled down my pants and she got a ruler and some like geometric tools and started like looking at the symmetry of my balls. Mm-hmm. She said, nope, can't do it.
How long did it take her to find them though?
And then I married her.
Do you need a microscope for that?
Hey, something stood out there. You said the male moose is the bull, right?
Yeah.
And the female moose is the cow, right?
Yes.
Why did we name other animals those same words? You know what I mean?
Right. It's like we just called them male and female for cow. Yeah. We didn't even try.
Mm.
That's true.
Humans are dumb, especially American ones.
Well, yeah, whoever created all the English language. Now get this, the diameter of the antler indicates the age of the moose, not how many points there are. So it's how thick around the antler is. Moose are mainly solitary. They do not travel together unless a mother is raising her calf or if they're going to have a intense sexual encounter, which, folks, if you've never tried to imagine two moose having sex, please do it now. After the mating season, males drop their antlers to conserve energy for the winter. That's why they drop them. They don't need them anymore. I've already tried to impress the ladies, and now that fucking season is over, get these off of my head.
It's just so fascinating how the nature works, right? That shit just automatic. It just happens. Like the antlers they just know it's time to come off based on the season.
Whoa. You're not, Nick. You're not suggesting... You're not going to say evolution, are you?
No, of course not. I would never.
Okay. Ooh. Because I was going to say, Nick, that's a theory. That goes against all my God-given beliefs.
Yeah, theory, it means it's not real. It means it's not a fact. Don't you know science?
Moose are unpredictable. They're most likely to attack people if they're annoyed, harassed, or if you approach them too closely, which people do all the time. I mean, there's stories every year about people who get too close to a moose. At what point in your life have you not developed a critical thinking skill that when you see an animal that large, you say, yeah, honey, get a little closer, take that picture, you idiot.
You deserve to get rammed by the moose. But I like how the moose will attack you if they're annoyed. I know some people like that too. You annoy them much enough, they'll attack you.
Yeah, moose don't play around. They do not make distinctions between tormentors and innocent passerbys. They've got their guard up. They don't want to be messed with. Don't rain on my fucking day is what a moose is telling you.
No, I'm with you. I see a moose. I admire it from afar, but I do not get close to it.
Now, last fact here on moose. They were successfully introduced into Newfoundland in the 1880s, and they've been so successful there that they are now the dominant ungulate. They're the dominant major land animal in Newfoundland. So it's kind of neat.
I guess it's kind of neat.
It's the only success story for conservation I was able to put on the list. If that gives you any sense of the state of the world.
State of North America in particular. Well, I love a good moose, and I would say they're the cutest animal we've discussed so far.
Really?
What's cuter than a moose? I mean, the Kodiak brown bear, I could listen to an argument on that.
Sure.
The bison is not cuter than the moose. I'm sorry.
That's true. The moose, when you see a full male moose with the antlers on, it's wild that exists. It's crazy.
Who would you rather fight if you had to fight? A moose or a bison? Now, bison's bigger.
Now, hold on. Let's save that question for the very end.
Okay, all right.
After we hear all 10. All right, what's your next guess? Hey there, listener. Do you enjoy the Tennis Podcast? Of course you like it. Otherwise, then what the hell are you doing here? And since you enjoy the Tennis Pod, I'm asking you to do me, Dr. Buster, not Nick. I know you wouldn't do it for Nick, but please, please, please just do me a simple favor. Pause the episode right now and rate Tennis Podcast 5 stars on your podcasting app of choice. Is that Spotify? Is it Apple? Is it Good Pods? Is it whatever the hell else? I don't even know. There's like 100 different podcast hosting sites now, and so many other apps have a quick and simple way to rate the Tennis Pod 5 stars with just one tap. You do not even have to tap it 5 times to get 5 stars. Only one tap. I mean, come on. How much easier can we make it? It might not seem like much, but it really helps us out. And if you're feeling extra cheeky, then hey, write a quick review too. Your reviews help other people discover our show and gives you a chance to let Nick know that Dr. Buster is your favorite sidekick host. Take a few seconds to rate and review Tennis Podcast now. It's so easy, but very much appreciated. We want to say thank you for everything that you all do to support the show. Thank you very much.
Now, sometimes whales can wash up on the shore. Are we going to call that a land animal?
No, I already said your mom is not on the list.
Oh, damn, that's the third mom joke in the same episode.
If you're getting sick of the mom jokes, unsubscribe.
Yeah, unsubscribe because there's more coming for sure. What about a buck deer?
So if you're going to guess deer, no, deer don't even get close to 1,000 pounds, but there is another deer-like creature. They're not as big as a moose.
So they have antlers then.
They do have antlers. A lot of folks go to the Rocky Mountains to see this. They have a very distinct call.
Is it like a goat of some kind?
No. It's in the deer.
A pronghorn?
Just like moose. No, pronghorn tend to be smaller.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me another hint. Like, do I know this name? Is
you
it
do.
Common?
Their antlers are huge. They look like reindeer, but they're not.
An elk?
An elk. You got
it. An elk. Okay. So an elk it can't be as big as a moose.
Nope.
I don't think it's as big as the Kodiak. I'll say number 9.
Folks, he does it again. He's 4 for 4. It's the number 9.
I legitimately cannot believe that.
This is the best. I think this is the best you've ever performed. I'm not saying something.
Okay.
Elk coming in at 1,050 pounds. So they are the most gregarious deer species. Summer months, groups of elk can reach up to 400 individuals. Wow, needy bitches. For most of the year, though, adult males and females, they segregate into their own herds, and they don't intermingle until it's time to get it on.
Until it's time to insert the penis into the vagina.
During
allegedly.
the fall, elk grow a thicker coat of hair, which helps them insulate during the winter. Both male and female elk grow thick neck manes, which is rare. Usually it's only the males that have the thick neck mane, like a lion.
And my first wife.
Okay. By early summer, they shed the winter coat, and elk are known to rub their coats off against trees and other objects.
Trees are great, right? Like, not only do they give us oxygen, but every animal utilizes a tree. Animals live in the tree. Some animals eat off a tree. They rub their fucking fur coats on the trees. The bison are rubbing on the trees. Like, trees are great. I love them.
Just like humans, nothing goes to waste, right?
I'm going to have to think about that one.
So, especially in the mountains, elk migrate into areas of higher altitude in the spring, following the retreating snow, and they go back down the mountain in the fall for the winter months. Hunting pressure impacts migration and movement, so it's kind of elks. They don't really stay in the same area. They tend to just kind of wander all throughout the mountains. During the winter, they do favor wooded areas for greater availability of food. And interestingly, unlike many animals, elk do not appear to benefit from thermal cover. So many animals will seek shade to get refuge from the summer sun. That does not help an elk for whatever reason.
So the sun does not help an elk warm up. Is that what you're saying?
No, shade doesn't help them cool off.
Oh, shade doesn't help them cool off. Okay.
Yeah, they can be in the sun or not. It doesn't matter.
Well, maybe when they want to get some reading done, they'll go under the shade.
Right, sure.
Because
have some alone time. Now, hopefully, Nick, I have a YouTube link here. Maybe Nick can put it in the show notes. But you should play the sample of an elk bugle real quick for folks who aren't familiar. It's one of my favorite sounds of nature. It's wild.
Okay,
truly, like no joke. The elk bugle is such an interesting, unique noise.
Can you replicate it? Try to replicate it with your own mouth.
I can't. Like, it's one thing to hear it on YouTube. It's another thing to hear it in person. It's so loud and iconic. Oh, love it. On our honeymoon, we were camping outside of a national park in Utah. And I already don't like camping at baseline. I'm also terrified that we're going to get eaten ass to limb by a grizzly or whatever. And it's like 2 a.m. and I'm wide awake because I already can't sleep, and I start hearing elk bugle to each other across this like mountain pass, and it's all I can hear, and it's getting closer and closer. Now, obviously, folks, I know elk aren't going to eat me, but what I was super nervous about is the elk wandering into our campsite, and then like I sneeze or cough or something, and I spook the elk, and then it comes over there with its huge rag of antlers and gorges us to death. So I was terrified for like an hour. Meanwhile, my wife is over there just sleeping soundly, and I try to wake her up a couple times to get her to give a shit about this panic I'm in, and she is having no part of it and went right back to sleep.
It's because she's smart. She doesn't waste energy on unfounded panic. You thought you were going to sneeze and the elk would be like, time to gore your ass to death.
Well, like a moose, right? Maybe it gets self-defense. It gets self-defensive.
Now, what I'm confused about is you mentioned that they bugle, right, back and forth. What does a pointy chip that I put on my fingers have to do with?
I'm going to assume you're going to edit that one out. Moving on.
See. Are there any big cats on this list? I don't think there are any.
Ooh, row. No. Mountain lions, I think, don't weigh up to 1,000 pounds.
Is there anything else with antlers?
No.
This is where I'm starting to struggle. Let me think for a second.
I'll give you a hint. So there are 6 left.
Yeah.
All 6 of them spend a great amount of time in the water, but they also go on land.
There are no American elephants. There are no American giraffes. There are no, I don't think there's an American hippo. There can't be an American hippo. Alligator or crocodile?
You got it, bub. Coming in at what number?
Okay. What kind of crocodile?
It's the American alligator.
The American alligator.
The one you might see in Florida.
We love our listeners in Florida and our alligators in Florida. I'm going to put that at 10.
Folks, we're not doing this for a ruse. Nick truly doesn't know. If this is your first time to the Tennis Pod, Nick does not know what the list is going to be. He doesn't have any information ahead of time, and he's truly guessed all of them so far at the right number, except for when he was a fucking idiot and said grizzly bear, and it wasn't even on the list. God, I'm going to replay that back and listen to that all night. It's so dumb.
This one was a little easier because I know an alligator can't be more than 1,000 pounds, so it's got to be number 10.
I think number 8 is going to blow your goddamn mind, and so is number 1. But
okay, American alligator, number 10 at 1,000 pounds. Talk about an animal I'm not going to fuck with.
No. Yes. So American alligators tend to be darker than other alligators. So the record for strongest bite of any animal in the world goes to the American alligator at 3,000 pounds of force. Folks, if you're going to Florida and you see a sign...
First of all, why would you go to Florida? Am I right? But if you happen to accidentally find yourself there...
If you see a sign that says don't go near the water, even outside a hotel in Florida, don't do it. There are stories every year, people getting pulled in. It's so scary. I was in Orlando for a conference. We're in the middle of the city. I can see SeaWorld across the street. There's a decently sized pond right next to the hotel I'm staying at, and that's that sign. There was a sign there that said, do not approach the water because of alligator danger. And you bet your ass I did not go anywhere near that water. I'm not fucking around. Are you kidding?
No. Well, this is a man who was afraid of his sneeze setting off an elk attack. So I would not have guessed you'd fuck with an alligator, for sure.
So American alligators primarily bask on the shore and the beach, but they also climb into and perch on trees from time to time.
What?
So you think you're fucking safe just staring at the ground? Nope. Might be a 1,000-pound alligator up in the tree waiting to jump down and get you.
They climb trees?
It's not very common, but they will. I imagine they're not very good. It's got to be an easy to climb tree. You know, like a tree that Stephen Hawking could get up, I would imagine.
Whoa. God damn. Speaking ill of the dead and the disabled.
Hey, there are a lot of dead disabled alligators. We're talking shit about them.
Okay, all right. Sure. But I got to tell you, I think I'd have an easier time believing an alligator in a tree than Stephen Hawking. Listener of the show. If Stephen Hawking was up, because he'd be in the wheelchair too, you know, in the tree. Yeah. The whole wheelchair would be up there.
He'd bitch about it more than an alligator would too. I wouldn't be able to suffer Stephen Hawking griping about how he wished he could climb a tree. Like he can solve physics cases, but he can't get up a tree. And talk about my privilege about being an able-bodied individual.
Yeah, fuck. And the only thing that could get him up in a tree, I think, is the promise of Jeffrey Epstein's private jet being up there in the tree.
Or his wife coming back, who left him.
Oh, God. Okay, now that's mean. All right. I'm done with Stephen Hawking. Fuck him. Fuck him.
I have Stephen Hawking's book. and I hope to read it someday soon, but it's on my shelf. I've not actually read it. And my main exposure to him is the Eddie Redmayne movie, Theory of Everything, which was great. And I loved it. So
maybe his book will be on a future episode of The Bookbuster.
So after the female alligator lays 20 to 50 white eggs. Okay, first
baby.
off, ladies, women, if you think you got it bad, imagine laying 50 eggs once a year. Each one is about the size of a goose egg. She covers them with vegetation, which heats as it decays. Now that's wild. The vegetation doesn't trap the heat. It actually creates its own as it decays. Helps keep the eggs warm. They differ from Nile crocodiles, which lay their eggs in pits, but alligators make nests. If the nest tends to be warmer, they'll produce a lot of male baby alligators. But if the nest is in cooler regions, cooler conditions, closer to the water, it'll tend to produce only females, like in swamps and marshes. The mama remains near the nest throughout the 65-day incubation period, protecting it from intruders. And when the young begin to hatch, they start to yelp. And sometimes baby alligators can be heard yelping up to days before they hatch. That is nuts, man.
You said a lot of things there that were nuts. Like apparently the heat affecting its sex, and then it starts yelping like a dog inside its egg. But baby American alligators, sorry, but they're cute. I wouldn't fuck with it, but they're cute. Now, is American alligator one of the ones that will eat its own babies?
Maybe the males, but from this anecdote, I would say not the females.
At least the babies are on their own once they're born, I'm pretty sure. Or not long after they're born. I don't know exactly, but
reptiles aren't known for being loving.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting that this mommy alligator is going to go through all this trouble to lay a bunch of eggs, keep the eggs protected and warm, stay there and protect the eggs till they're born, and then when they're born, she fucks off and never sees them again. It's interesting.
Yeah, unlike humans, they play the numbers game. It's quantity over quality. I'm going to have 50 children and fuck them after they're born, and I'm going to go back to do my own life, treat myself.
Climb in a tree with Stephen Hawking. And an American alligator lays eggs the same way I produce podcasts. The more I just shoot out as many episodes as I can, one of them's bound to hit one of these days. Still waiting.
Imagine being a reptile, and a male reptile in particular. Every activity that you have angles towards the next time you can hopefully mate and have sex with another alligator or another reptile. And then as soon as you do that, you stop caring about that whole business. And the second you see one of your children, you just eat them as a snack to tide you over.
It's wild.
It's so counterintuitive.
God works in mysterious ways.
All right, you've got 5 animals left.
I want to take a sidebar because I briefly mentioned the Bookbuster, which is available every month exclusively on Tennis Pod Plus, and the latest bonus episode is also out now on Tennis Pod Plus. It's me and my friend, fellow Seinfeld superfan Calvin, as we go through the list of what ChatGPT says are the most attractive boyfriends and girlfriends of the Seinfeld cast in the show. So if you want to listen to that, as well as like 70 other bonus episodes, all of them are ad-free. This episode you're listening to, also ad-free. All episodes ad-free. tennispod.com/plus, and it's also available on Apple Podcasts. Either way, you get a free 7-day trial.
Now, honest plug, everyone, Nick didn't ask me to do this in advance, but, I've been like a patron for years, and I forget that Tennis has ads. And it's so easy to forget. And then if I happen to hear an episode on Spotify with the ads, it throws me off. So, hey, folks, do yourself a favor. Sign up for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Arguably a lot less.
Less? Price of an airport hot dog.
Become a patron. Support the show you know and love.
Tennispod.com/PLUS.
Not Nick. We don't like Nick. We just like the show.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't like Nick either. Can you give us a quick recap of where we are right now on the list?
Number 10, American Alligator. Number 9, Elk. 8, Mystery. Number 7, Kodiak Bear. Number 6, Unknown. 5, Moose. 4, Suspect Unknown. 3, Bison. 2, we don't know yet. And number 1, the biggest baddie of them all.
And you said that all of these remaining spend a lot of time in water, right? Are there any other reptiles?
Yes.
Another alligator?
No.
A snake?
No.
Surely not. No.
This is one that blew my mind.
It's not a snake. It's not an alligator. It's not a crocodile. There's no frogs over 1,000 pounds. Can you imagine? It's a tortoise, right? Not a turtle?
This is a turtle, not a tortoise. This is a sea living creature. but it does come on land.
No, I don't know what it's called. What's it called?
I'd never heard of this. It's called the Leatherback Turtle.
That's where you got leather from in the opening when I thought you were talking about butts still.
This big old sumbitch Leatherback Turtle weighs a high average of 1,100 pounds.
Well, you just gave away that it's number 8.
I did. Sorry, I thought you'd already guessed that.
No, number 8. That's what I was going to guess, though.
Yeah, I bet.
Leatherback turtle.
Leatherback turtle. Do a quick Google search.
This thing is weird.
It's a massive tortoise. And instead of having a shell, it just has a really, really thick segment of fortified skin, kind of like an Ankylosaurus. Many dinosaurs, they didn't have a shell, but just a really thick back that protected them.
I guess God forgot to put a shell on this one. And there's a picture of it next to a person. And this sumbitch is huge, not the person, the turtle. The turtle is huge. It's bigger than the person.
They're huge. Yeah. They're wild.
Where do they live?
Yeah, so they have a cosmopolitan global range. So they live all over the world, throughout the ocean. So they're native to everywhere, including North America. So the North America bit's a technicality. So they have the widest distribution of any turtle, reaching as far north as Alaska and Norway, all the way down around the southernmost tip of Africa and New Zealand. They are found everywhere except for the Arctic Circle and down near Antarctica.
I have never heard of this turtle, and I don't think I've seen it. If I have, I've forgotten. But like this thing is a beast. I'll put a link in the show notes for the listeners to see an image of every animal we talk about today.
Okay, yeah, that might be helpful for some international listeners if you don't happen to know exactly what a moose is, or an elk, or a leatherback turtle.
I did not know what a leatherback turtle looked like. Okay.
No, I'm being 100%, because like we learned about animal species in Africa when we were there that I'd never heard of, like a kudu. And if I were listening to a podcast and someone said kudu, I wouldn't even know what that is, so I'd have to look it up.
You know, this is a complete sidebar, but I was in Rome a week or two ago, and I went to a tour. When in Rome, all roads lead to Rome. And I went there, I did a tour of the Colosseum, and they said something that had never occurred to me before. Because we've all heard that in the ancient Colosseum, they would fight animals, right? They'd fight animals to the death, whatever. But the animals they would bring in would be exotic animals from other places, like elephants,
tigers,
things like that,
bears.
Yeah. And the people in the Colosseum, the Romans, the thousands in attendance, they had never seen these animals. They didn't even know they existed. So when a tiger showed up to fight a human, to the person that had never seen this animal, it was like a mythical beast.
Damn.
Imagine that. Like, because you didn't even know what an elephant was. You never seen or heard of one. So now there's an elephant fighting a person in this arena, and it's just weird.
The amount of surprise and shock it must be to see a bear for the first time in a situation like that. I don't know that we experience that degree of surprise and awe anymore. With the internet, the world's at our fingertips from a young age.
Or even before the internet, there were books, picture books, things like that,
sure.
National Geographic. So like, from a young age, you see and hear of like these common animals that are in zoos and shit. But back then, like, it must have been mind-blowing. Much like this leatherback sea turtle. Can you imagine fighting this fucking thing in the Colosseum? It'd be a real boring fight. But
yeah, it would just kind of sit there and be like, whoa! And you just go over there and jab it in the side. All right, so yeah, this is my point about the butt. Where's the butt on a turtle? You're gonna tell me you know exactly where a turtle butt is?
Yeah, under the tail, idiot. I mean...
Under it? Not to the side, each side of the tail? I think you would struggle more than you want to admit.
No, it's right. It's the same place a butt is on any turtle.
I don't want to hear it. Okay, that's where the anus is, under the turtle.
Yeah.
But where's like its ass? Like if it has...
It doesn't have one.
No, that's my point.
But people use the anus and the ass like interchangeably. When people think of ass on an animal, they're thinking about the anus. Like your dog or your cat doesn't have an ass either.
If someone said... My husband walked by just now and spanked me on the butt. None of us are imagining he reached his middle finger in and just boop, popped right in the anus. No, we know we're talking about tapping the butt cheeks. So if you're talking about on an elk, on an alligator, where's the bum bum?
But
I'm not
no
talking
animal,
about the butthole.
Nothing on the planet besides a human has a bum cheek.
I beg to differ.
What has a butt cheek?
You haven't seen my incognito Google searches of chimpanzee butts and baboon.
The chimpanzee does not have butt cheeks.
Let's talk about the baboon. There's an animal we know has got some big old butt cheeks.
I don't know. I think you're thinking of Rafiki.
Dude, from a previous episode, there's like a specific baboon that's called like the red-cheeked baboon because it has a big, bright red ass. I'm not making that up.
But it's an anus still. It has
big butt cheeks. Everyone at home, do yourself a favor, even if you're at work and right now, Google primate butt cheek and see what you find. I guarantee you're going to find more than just humans.
I gotta tell you, people.
And then explain that to your coworker.
I did a search for baboon red butt, and I'm regretting it. I still don't know if I'd call them cheeks, though. But they're pretty close to a cheek, if not. The dolphin doesn't have butt cheek, you know?
Right. It does have an anus, but it doesn't have a butt. It has a butthole.
I think we're arguing semantics here. I think
we are, but that's okay.
All right.
One other fact about leatherback turtles that I think is really cool. So the leatherback main prey is a jellyfish, and they prefer deep water, and people have followed and cataloged leatherback turtles diving up to 3,000 feet below sea level, beyond the physiological limits of all other tetrapods, except for sperm whales. Sperm whales are the only large animal that can beat them on depth diving, which means these leatherback turtles are going deeper than blue whales. Crazy.
But why?
To hunt jellyfish, to go find them.
That's damn jellyfish.
Imagine
being a jellyfish.
So cool.
You're a fucking blob of nothing. Everyone hates you. And now you're being hunted at the deepest depths of the sea. You're not safe there either.
You try to sting, right? You try to pack such a bite, but it's not enough because that turtle's going to come find you. And leatherback turtles are capable of generating their own heat as they dive to the deep recesses of the ocean. They maintain a high body temperature, and they have a metabolism that's 3 to 4 times greater than other animals of their own size. So leatherback turtle, they don't have to hop on the bike. They don't have to work out to get that heart rate pumping. They can just do it themselves.
I got to tell you, this animal, the leatherback sea turtle, is a fucking wonder of science, and it's a tank. Like,
it's cool.
It's really a cool animal. Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the leatherback turtle listeners out there.
Respect.
Respect his name.
You hear that? Shh. Listen, that's the sound of another ad interrupting your podcast episode. Is there anything worse than another ad? But life doesn't have to be this way, dear listener. You could be skipping this very ad right now. In fact, you could skip all ads on Tennis Podcast. All you need is about 10 seconds, and you can live your life 100% ad-free. Take those 10 seconds right now and go to tennispod.com/plus. Go ahead, pause this episode, and do it right now. At tennispod.com/plus, you can easily sign up to become a TennisPod Plus member. As a member, you'll never hear an ad ever again. But wait, there's more. Members also get access to about 70 exclusive bonus episodes that can't be heard anywhere else. But it's not just bonus episodes. Members also enjoy the exclusive members-only podcast, The Bookbuster, where our own Dr. Buster puts his real-life psychology doctoral degree to good use as he reviews a new psychology or self-help book every month. All bonus episodes and Bookbuster episodes can be listened to right in the very app you're listening to me on right now. No extra apps or know-how needed. There are more benefits too, like free swag, monthly giveaways, blooper reels, and more. So what are you waiting for? Pause my voice right now, take 10 seconds, and go sign up. By the way, if you're an Apple Podcast listener, sign up in just one tap at the top of our Apple Podcast page. So start your free 7-day trial now at tennispod.com/plus or on Apple Podcasts. Or don't sign up at all and sit through more ads right now. The choice is yours.
4 animals left. All 4 of them spend a considerable amount of time in the water.
Are they mammals?
Yes.
Are there any bears left?
Yes.
You said no to grizzly. Black bear is too small, right? What's bigger than a Kodiak? Polar bears they're not in Alaska, are they?
Well, North America goes all the way up to the Arctic Circle with Canada and Greenland and Newfoundland.
Polar bear.
The polar bear.
That's got to be number 2 or 4. I'm going to say 2.
First mistake of the day, folks.
Damn it. Is it 4?
Number 6.
I can't believe that.
The polar bear gets up to a high average of 1,400 pounds.
I really thought they were bigger than that because they got to carry so much bulk to be warm in the winter, you know?
They do, but instead of bulk, they exchange that for a really dense underfur, which is 2 inches long. And they have these things called guard hairs on the end that help regulate their temperature, and each of those hairs is 6 inches long.
Polar bears are nuts. They're one of my favorite animals, though. But I didn't realize that the Arctic was part of North America. Maybe I'm an idiot.
It goes all the way up to the Arctic Circle.
Okay.
They have these guard hairs are transparent, but sometimes they can change with color if they're exposed to the sun enough, and that helps them scatter UV light and trap it underneath the skin, leading to a cycle of absorption and re-emission, keeping the polar bears warm. So they don't have to bulk up. Instead, they have this crazy outer coating that can trap UV light and store it. It's nuts. And due to that scatter of light, however, they gain a yellowish color the more they get exposed throughout the year to the sun.
And they also get a red color when they fucking slaughter a seal. And of all the animals on here so far, I think the polar bear is the one I fuck with least. But they're also the cutest. They're the cutest one by far we've talked about.
Wild fact about polar bears, they prefer to live on ice. If they can get away with it, they want to be in the water or on the ice. They don't like to go to permanent land. And they travel up to 15,000 miles a year. They wander. They have no particular territory. They are constantly roaming, and they want to be in the water or on the ice shelf.
They can stay in the water a really long time without getting tired.
They're super powerful. And in the region where they live, it's constantly freezing and thawing. Large glaciers, icebergs, everything's cracking, moving. It's incredible that polar bears were able to evolve and sustain in the first place.
Whoa. Hang on. That's just a theory. And we all know what a theory means. It means it's not real.
This is probably obvious before I even say it, but I'll here's my one bit of doom and gloom. If there's an animal on this list that's the most negatively impacted by climate change and humans, it's the polar bears. Bear. If you have a chance to take a trip up north, folks, and see them now, I would, because in 50, 100 years' time, who knows if we still have wild polar bears.
It is crazy to think that there's animals that are so part of culture today that our great-great-grandkids may only know from books and movies and things like that.
Yeah, I know. What a shame. At Christmas time, Coca-Cola's going to have to move on to a new mascot. Isn't it terrible?
I think they did move on like 20 years ago, and our generation just still thinks about it. Are you done with polar bear?
No. Here's an interesting tidbit about their mating strategy. So males search for females by walking in winding, twisting paths so that they lower the chance that they will encounter another male and have to fight to the death. Meanwhile, females travel in a nearly linear fashion during the mating season. So females just
females
walk.
Got all the power. Yeah.
They walk in a straight line, and the males are doing zigzags throughout nature. They end up finding each other. And the males do that, and they've evolved that tendency over time because it makes them less likely to run into each other.
It's sad that like this animal is at super high risk of extinction over time, and like there's only a few polar bears left, and the ice caps are melting and all that shit. And now you got these males fighting each other to the death. It's like, bros, like just there's only a few of you left. Like just walk the other way. But that's just nature. It's just the way it is.
You wish you could instill in them like a pack mentality, and they'd be so much more successful if they didn't have to be so solitary and territorial. But that's why, animals that do travel in herds aren't as at risk of extinction because they are better at collaboration.
Well, I love you, polar bear, and I hope you're here forever.
Polar bears are amazing. They're super neat. And
they are.
Just wild that they can exist in the conditions they do.
Now, the remaining 3 animals, do they have hooves?
No.
What could be bigger than a moose and a bison, but is native to North America and is also in the water?
Think about weight. These are some jiggly, heavy bitches.
There's no hippos.
One of these is twice the size of a bison.
Could I find this at your typical American zoo?
One of them, yes. 2 of them only at like the top tier zoos. One of these is at like most zoos. You usually think of the smaller ones because they're always female. The females are really small compared to the males. And they often teach them how to do tricks at zoos.
A sea lion?
You got it.
Number 4.
Number 4. The Steller sea lion. Now you might be thinking, how the hell is that bigger than a moose? That's because the males get up to a high average of 2,000 pounds. They're massive. Go ahead and do yourself a favor and Google image Steller sea lion. Male.
I gotta download that Google machine again. Hang on.
and once you feast your eyes upon a male stellar sea lion, there'll be no question why it's on this list.
Wow. This sumbitch is a beast.
It's wild.
And he is jiggly.
I don't know how that fella makes it on land.
He's cute as hell, though. But yeah, he's a big boy.
I'm going to send you this YouTube video, and it reminds me of documentaries I'd see as a kid. It's just a pile of fucking flesh where all the sea lions just lay on top of each other.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
And it might remind some people of their family reunions. Sexy, am I right?
Yeah, I never would have guessed this in a million years if you didn't guide me. I would not have said this was a North American animal, and I would not have said it's bigger than a moose or a polar bear. But
yeah, it's crazy. So they're off the coast of California all the way up to the tippy top of Alaska. And they also span across the Pacific Ocean, and you can find stellar sea lions on the north shores of Japan. But get this, in order to stay underwater for long periods of time, stellar sea lions exhibit apnea, brachycardia, and peripheral vasoconstriction. They control the size of their blood vessels, they slow their heart rate way, way down, and they can suppress their blood sugar levels to be able to store oxygen for a really long time. It's legit.
Now, how come humans can't have cool shit like that? Why is this reserved for the sea lion? What? You know what I mean?
We didn't need it. So we got these big old brains.
Yeah, well, some of us.
Yeah, jury's still out on that one, but that's their specialization. I forgot to put down how long they can hold their breath, but they can control their central nervous system in order to make a limited amount of oxygen last a really long time.
Yeah. It's crazy. I love this guy.
Yeah, they're legit. So, the females look exactly what you're imagining when you imagine SeaWorld, and they're teaching them cute tricks, and they wave high, and they do backflips. But the male, not so agile.
Yeah. No, he's he's the Jared from Subway before he lost the weight.
The only thing they're teaching that male to do is roll over, if he even can get up off the water.
No, they just like to eat, huh?
I don't know. Maybe I bet the extra size on the male is either for mating or to keep them warm.
Yeah. Well, the females don't need the extra size to stay warm, so. But maybe they're not traveling as far because the males are, male animals of all kinds, including maybe the sea lion, will travel millions of miles to go fuck some unsuspecting female. So.
Well, and I think they all lay together too to be warm. The top two, the biggest baddies, we saved these big old hunk of junks for last.
Now, these guys might be in a zoo, but not as common as a sea lion. They like the water. They're not a bear. They don't have hooves.
We've talked about hooves. We've talked about antlers. What other kind of hard, bony protrusion can animals have? It's teeth.
Oh, teeth? A walrus.
A walrus.
Walrus, that's got to be number 1. 2?
Number 1 or number 2? What's your guess?
Well, I'll go 2. I feel like you would have saved number 1.
Number 2 is correct at 3,500 pounds. If you haven't looked at a picture for a minute, Nick, look at walrus real quick. I guess I underestimated how big walruses get.
Fucking faces. I searched walrus and I immediately see their faces, and it literally looks like President William H. Taft. They're funny-looking guys, huh?
They are. So they mainly live in shallow waters above the continental shelves. They spend most of their lives out at sea and on the ice, just like polar bears. They prefer ice to land, but they come on land for mating and nesting and raising the young before they go back out. They're very social. They're not territorial at all. They cluster a lot when they're during the mating season. And
do they like people? Are they social with people?
I didn't put that down, but yeah, I think it's pretty common on a documentary. They get pretty close to them, and I don't think. Well, first of all, let's be honest. If you are looking at a walrus, I don't think you'd have to run very fast to outpace them. I sent you a video of a walrus that I thought was particularly good. This is another one that should be in the show notes. It's a cluster of walruses with their massive tusks all laying together in a huge heap, and they get pissed off at each other because they won't stop moving.
Some of them are literally rolled on their back like my cat does, on their back with their little flippers up. These are just hilarious animals. It's funny that they even exist.
I know. It's there are animals like the ram or the alligator or the tiger that are so majestic and intimidating to look at. You see the walrus, and you're like, huh, that's what beat out every other design.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the walrus. I never think about it. I always forget about the walrus, but I'm glad we're talking about him now.
So the tusks, both males and females have the tusk. And the tusks are bigger, longer, and thicker for the males. They use them for fighting, dominance, and display. The extraocular muscles of the walrus are so well developed that they can literally stick their eyeballs out. They can press, and their eyeballs pop out, and that allows them to see better behind themselves and in front of themselves. Are you like that's legit. Very useful, but B, it's kind of funny.
It is. Everything about the walrus is funny. There's just all this shit. Like, yes, humans have the brain, but we're missing out on so many other cool things that these animals got. Like popping your eye out to make it look around like a robot eye. Like, that'd be cool. But then again, what the fuck are we going to do? Use that for? So we can see our phones better? So we can look at our iPads more effectively?
Well, I think... So the walrus vision is more attuned for 360 degrees as you're kind of swimming in the ocean, you're looking for prey. But when they want to direct their attention and focus, a lot of animals can't, like a deer. A deer doesn't have good frontal vision, but the walrus can. You pop them eyeballs right out and get a good old look at you. So all we have left is number 1, who sits all the way up here at 5,000 pounds.
And the walrus is 3,500, so it's got a healthy lead on that. And this animal is partially in water. It might be at a zoo, but not your everyday zoo.
And it's the funniest animal on the list to me. I have a special YouTube video for you.
Does it have fins or flippers, kind of like a walrus does?
It is more absurd looking than a manatee.
And it's like an animal we all know, right? And recognize. Like,
I kind of forgot this thing existed. There's a Muppet that comes to mind when I think of this animal. The Muppet has like a nose that comes out.
Gonzo?
And his nose kind of like jiggles.
Oh, is it that like, it has like a little mini trunk looking thing? Right?
Yes.
Like, what is that called? I can't remember the name of that animal. It looks kind of like a mix between a pig and an elephant and like a walrus, right? Like,
if intelligent design was around for this animal, then they were having a field day, because I don't think it was necessary to make its face look like that.
What's it called?
It is the elephant seal.
Yes, that's it. The elephant seal.
I'm going to send Nick a YouTube video. And the first part of the YouTube video shows how these crazy sumbitches move, which is funny in itself. But then he's going to see them howling and yelling at each other with their mouths wide open. And it's a sight to see.
Do some have big noses and some don't?
I think they've all got nasty, gnarly faces.
How dare you?
They are a sight to behold.
Yeah.
And how the hell this 5,000-pound creature is able to get enough lift to come off the ground in order to do that gyrating motion?
Yeah, it does jiggle.
Is incredible. And the whole body's jiggling. It's like, arr!
You gotta wonder what the mating looks like. I'm too scared to look it up.
Well, when you do, folks, be sure to keep it in incognito mode.
Incognito mode. These guys, I mean, you call them an abomination, but they're cute in their own little way.
The elephant seal. They're massive. So their dimorphism size is exaggerated, with males getting sometimes up to 8 times as big as a female.
Oh my god.
So the poor lady elephant seal.
Like, imagine a male human and a female human together, but the male is 8 times larger. It'd be like Andre the Giant and Mini-Me.
Having sex with a little person. Yeah. I don't know if it was the elephant seal, but I have a strong memory from adolescence of watching a nature documentary in some seal, walrus type creature, and they were filming them trying to have sex. And I remember hearing that just surviving the act of sex was difficult because of how heavy they were and laying on top of each other.
I believe it.
Now, wouldn't you think that the female elephant seal could know that was coming, so she'd actually pick the runt of the litter of the males? Or they just can't help themselves?
I don't think she has a choice.
They want the big daddy-o, whether they like him or not.
I don't
He's
think
coming
that
in.
females have a choice in most of the animal kingdom, but maybe I'm wrong.
So the elephant seal's large proboscis, its massive face snout, is used in making extraordinarily loud roaring noises, especially, this is straight from Wikipedia, especially during mating. My wife may ask me next time, what are you doing? I'm channeling my inner elephant seal, baby. Do you enjoy it?
And then she turns on the light and she says, yeah, I think I don't feel well tonight.
She says, what did you strap to your face? The elephant seal eats a variety of prey, including fish, squid, crustaceans, small sharks, manta rays, and something called a ratfish. Don't know what that is.
No, if it's got rat in the name, I'm out.
One study found that elephant seals have usually over than 50% of squid in their stomach at any given time. So they mainly feed on squid. They also dive down to up to 3,000 feet below sea level just to slurp off the ocean floor.
You got to remember, like, yes, it probably is not hard for this 5,000-pound animal to dive 3,000 feet, but remember, it's got to get back up. It's got to swim back up 3,000 feet, and it's pulling some heavy cargo. So
it's nothing for these guys.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They're just, and the whole time they're swimming, their little nose is just flopping all around.
It's like a dog's really long tongue when it's sticking its head out of the car window. That proboscis is just flopping off the side of the face as he swims like 80 miles an hour through the ocean.
Did you read what the point of their proboscis is?
To make the loud roaring noises. And I think it's
they don't eat with it or anything like that?
I don't think so. They want that huge hog hanging off the front of their face, and the ladies are like, yeah, that proboscis, that can get all up in my business. Okay. Yes, sir.
You're done.
Elephant seals do not drink water. Instead, they get their water from food sources and metabolism of fat.
Why not just drink the water? Like, what's going to hurt?
I don't need to. Skip it. While walruses and elephant seals look funny on land, there's no doubt they'd put any human to shame as soon as we got in the water. They just, I'm sure they blast off.
Yeah, I know, you're right.
And they can also look like fools.
And they breathe. They can hold their breath too, because they're not breathing under there. So
you think Michael Phelps is impressive? Put him next to a sea lion. His ass can get whooped.
Humans are actually extremely inefficient when it comes to being in the water.
And how long it takes us to grow and develop into adult humans, like, we are so physically, inept for the environmental conditions compared to most other animals. It really was our ability to plan and problem solve that set us apart.
Right, because most animals don't have to wait 18 years to leave the nest,
A horse. First of all, a horse could even be born. Like, when you see a newborn foal, their legs are so long. That poor mother horse, how she squeezes out that baby foal, I just don't know. Or the colt, I think it's called. But then that baby horse gets up and is walking within minutes. I look at my daughter and I'm like, get your act together.
No,
it's
humans
crazy.
Suck. Kid humans are the worst. They're no elephant seal, that's for sure. But you know what is an elephant seal? You. And you are going to go back through this top 10 list. And I want you at the end, I want to know which one is the cutest, which one's the least cutest, which one you want to fight the least, and which one you'd be most willing to fight.
I love it. We'll do that. Okay, number 10, American alligator. Number 9, elk. Number 8, leatherback turtle. Number 7, Kodiak bear. 6, polar bear. 5, moose. 4, stellar sea lion. 3, bison. 2, walrus. 1, elephant seal. Just as a reminder, the American alligator high average weight is 1,000 pounds, and the elephant seal is 5,000 pounds. So that's the gambit. All right, so both of us can name what is the cutest on the list for us.
No question. Like, immediately the polar bear. But I would say in second place is the sea lion.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go female sea lion for my cutest. Okay, what's the
female sea lion is not on the list, asshole. The male sea lion is on the list.
If I had to go with the big old beefy males, I'm going to switch my answer to polar bear. It's cute.
Yep. And the least cute?
ugliest, nastiest, I'm going elephant seal.
Fuck you. I mean, they're cute and like, some things are so weird and cute, weird and ugly that they're actually cute. No, they're not the ugliest. I'd say the ugliest is the American alligator.
I like how scary and intimidating reptiles look.
Was that the question, or was it cutest and least cutest?
Well, it's least cute, right? So I'm drawn to the fierceness of the gator. There's nothing redeeming to me about the look of an elephant seal, so that's why it's the least cute.
Next time I'll get a sidekick host who understands how to play this game. Okay, so which one is the one you would be most willing to fight? If you had to fight one, which one would you be most willing to fight? This is a fight to the death.
Okay, fight to the death. Do we get any tools?
No.
Then we're going to lose, no matter what.
I think there's one on here that you could probably be okay.
I think we should be allowed one weapon, like a knife or something.
These animals don't have weapons.
Bro, we would lose to every single one of these if it was just our hands.
The leatherback sea turtle, if it's on land, it's not going to be that effective.
You just got to wait it out.
That's who I'm picking.
So the easiest fight, yes, leatherback sea turtle, for sure.
Now, the one I'd least want to fight is for sure the polar bear. The cutest is also the one I'd least want to fight.
A gator, though. But a polar bear is like, ugh.
Well, look, people do wrestle gators.
Yes, that's true.
People don't wrestle bears, or polar bears, at least.
No, they don't. That's a great point. I was going to say, the alligator kind of lays in wait and plays defense, so you could kind of strategize how you're going to get your jabs in. A polar bear's not waiting. It's coming right for you.
For the throat.
And one swipe of those claws, you're done, buddy. Yeah. It's over.
Yep, I'm with you.
I think the fight would last approximately 30 seconds before you say goodbye to this I'd
say 30 seconds is generous.
No, 30 seconds would be you trying to out sprint it for a bit. Or if you're able to block
they're
its
fast
first
too.
Or avoid its its first or its second strike, you're not getting away a third time.
You all saw The Revenant with Leo, right? It'd be even worse than that.
Yeah, because a grizzly bear, they only top out around 900 pounds. You got the Kodiak, which is 1,200, and the polar bear, 1,500. I mean,
yeah, but the polar bear is also the most like battle ready. I feel like because it lives in the harshest conditions. It has to fight the hardest for its food. The grizzly bear is living large and in charge. I feel like in the in the woods and shit.
It would not be good against any of these animals except for the turtle.
And even the turtle, there's a chance it.
I mean, if it got on top of you, it could crush you.
Yeah.
1,100
pounds.
1,100. Okay, that's not bad. That wouldn't kill you.
It's bad. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would crush you to death, but you wouldn't be able to get out from under it unless it moved. So yeah.
Nope. It would submit you.
Let's just agree to avoid fighting all animals. Not just these, but all animals. Let's all avoid fighting all animals at all times.
And may we do our best to be humble as we share this planet with millions of other species.
Yes, fewer and fewer every day, though. God bless America. God bless humanity. Listener, I want to thank you for listening. Let me know what you thought of this list. Let me know what you thought was the most surprising, which one you'd want to fight the most, and least which one's the cutest. I want to know what you thought. Shoot me up on social media at TennisPod. You can follow us at TennisPod on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, all of it. And before we go, I want to remind you that new bonus episode is out now on TennisPod Plus about Seinfeld. Buster, any reminders you want to give the folks at home?
If we're not going cute, I'm just thinking beautiful. The American elk. I've seen them in person a lot, and whew, that's a beautiful animal.
Well, they're all beautiful in their own way.
Aren't we all?
Decidedly no.
That's it for me.
You listener, you're beautiful. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye.